covering is the DocumentsCorePack Office add-in, right? And basically what we're going to do is, what is the Office add-in? So the Office add-in is basically an updated version of the template designer. It's designed to be more user-friendly and easier to install and maintain. And what do we mean by that? So there's a couple of different things here that you're going to see. Number one, activation of the Office add-in is done via the Office add-in store. Right? It's cross-platform, meaning that you can use it via Windows, Mac OS, and the web, right? So basically, anywhere that you can use Word, you can use the new add-in, right? It is automatically updated, so you don't have to keep up with that. And the other thing, it's aligned with Microsoft 365 security standards, meaning that when we actually put this out, it's certified by Microsoft, so it's aligned with their standards, right? And to us, basically what that does for us is we feel like it future-proofs the product. It makes it a lot easier for you guys to use, and any kind of changes or anything like that that we make or anything going forward, it's definitely going to be a lot easier to do. So let's talk about the Office add-in versus the classic template designer, which you guys know right now if you're using DocumentsCorePack, right? So a couple of the different things you can see here. I've got my table here. I've got my Office add-in features here, the classic template designer here. Let's talk a little bit about each one, just a little highlight. So deployment and maintenance with the Office add-in, it is centrally maintained via the Office store. You're not going to have to download anything to get this going, right? Or you're not going to have to do any updates. Updates are done automatically for you once you have it installed. Of course, the classic template designer requires you to download the installation, and then it requires you to basically, so periodically do manual updates. You'll know that you have to come on our website and download the updates and things of that nature. Platform capability. So we're talking here, again, the Office add-on. You could use Windows, Mac OS, Word Online. Basically, as I said before, anywhere you can use Word, it pretty much works. There are some things with, tablets and things of that nature, but it does pretty much work on any of those three. The classic template designer, of course, is Windows only. You have to use the MS Word desktop, right? That's the platform capabilities. So anybody who uses Mac can actually use the Macintosh version of Word. You no longer have to have a separate Windows side loader to do this. User experience, we feel like it gives you a more modern user experience, right? More kind of up to date with what you're actually seeing with the new apps and everything like that. The classic template designer, of course, we've been around a long time. I've been here 12 years. We've kind of updated it. Some of the things are kind of jumbled together, as we'll kind of go over that, but they're jumbled together. It's a little outdated, and it needs some help sometimes. IT and security simplifies IT administration. So basically, it's always up to date, and there are no executables. Kind of in line of what we're kind of seeing a lot of these apps coming out today do. The classic template designer is local installations and could trigger some security reviews. More effort from the IT to manage and maintain. So, right, you'll have to download any kind of updates or anything like that. Let's see, hang on one second. I'm sorry, this is, okay. I have to download any updates or anything like that and kind of maintain it. And, if you're maintaining a large group of individuals that are actually using this, it can be a little bit more than you would want to do. As far as template design goes, the template design of the Office add-in basically has the template design capabilities for Dynamics 365. Some of the more advanced features, such as charting and a few other things, are not available yet, but we pretty much have everything that you would use, that I think the vast majority of people use to create templates, from what I've seen. In my experience, working in support for 12 years, everything that's in there is the main stuff that people use, like conditions and tables and things of that nature. It's pretty much all in there. And of course, you have the classic template designer, which gives you the full capabilities, right, for Dynamics 365. What we want to talk about is some of the usability updates. So number one, and this is kind of like the most important one that I feel is out there. It's the relationship designer and filtering and sorting. Right. If you are familiar with DocumentsCorePack and you've built your own relationships, or one of us in support has helped you go through and build these relationships and everything like that, you're presented basically with this window here, and it can be confusing as a new user to come in and try to figure all this out, what all this does. It takes some time. A learning curve is a little bit steep on it. As I kind of click through these and go through my different relationships, it opens up individual windows. So you have if you have a really large relationship, you have maybe 3 or 4 windows open, you have to close them all, etc. With the new relationship designer, right, it kind of streamlines that entire process, makes everything look a lot nicer. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot more intuitive. Right, and especially like doing things like filtering and sorting and things of that nature. It is kind of the like when you're setting up views inside of Dynamics, right? You'll be familiar with this, right? So you can set up your filtering based on that, right? So it's what you're kind of used to already, and that's what we were trying to go for here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to show today. It's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to be activating the DocumentsCorePack Office and add-in, kind of how you do it, show you how to do that step by step. And then we're going to connect to the environment. We're going to map a couple of fields, and then I kind of want to show you how to access related data, what that looks like, and what we mean by this, basically the new look for the whole thing. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring up Word, and I've got a quote that I'm kind of working on. It's basically basic, right? And here you see I have my the desktop version of the template designer installed. But what I want to do here to install the app, right, is to go over here to Home, and then I go to Add-ins, right? And then I just look for DocumentsCorePack. Okay, and then I will say add that. Right, and you can look down here, it's loading my add-ins and everything. Just takes a second to get that up, right? So once it's done, I've got the add-in installed. I have a new tab here called DocumentsCorePack. And just to kind of give you a brief look, this is the desktop version. This is what this looks like. This is what you're probably used to. And then for the add-on, right, I've got a few, it looks generally the same, a little bit more refined. Everything you need is going to be kind of up here. So what I want to do here first, now that I've got everything up here, I've got my add-in installed, I want to go ahead and connect. Right now, what you're going to be kind of faced with first is like a little getting started page, because of course I've had this installed and I'm hiding this. It's not going to really show me that, but it just takes a second to load my connections up, right? I've already kind of logged into this, but what you would do here is you would enter your username, right, and select the user that you want to use, right? So then you're just going to log in. All right, and then it'll come back, and then you're presented with basically you're not connected to a Dynamics database and my available environments, right? So if you have multiple environments that you can attach to those, you can then, like later on, if you want to like move around through the different environments, you can connect via here. But I just had the one, so I'll just connect to that. The connection is really, really simple, very fast, right? Lets me know that I'm connected to my demo instance, and then I say continue. And I'm just kind of ready to roll from there, right? So what I want to do here is the first thing I want to do is just show you what it looks like, inserting fields, just to kind of give you the general idea that it's basically the same thing as the desktop version, right? So it takes a little bit of time few seconds to get this over. So here, what I want to do is I want to create a quote, right? So I'm doing a quote. So I'll just search that up, quote. And then what it does here, it'll ask you for a base record. Again, if you've spoken to me before in the past on a support call or something, I always say have a test record that you always want to use. You always want to use a test record so you know what comes back. So this is really helpful. So what I'm going to do here is look up and grab my test record here. It just takes a few seconds for this to then load. So I always use for me in this demo, since I use construction and supply materials. So what I'll do is I'll select that, I'll say okay, and then I'll say start. And then what it does is it goes ahead and loads up all those fields for me. Now, one thing that you're going to notice, one of the most interesting things, and this is naturally available to you in the desktop designer, but not a lot of people use it. I think it's one of the most important features of DocumentsCorePack, the template designer, is that it pulls that data in so you can actually see which fields actually have data behind it, right? So for me, right, I want let's see, the created on date here. I'm going to just go ahead and insert the field, and it's just like before, right? So let's see here, the quote name, I think it's just called name on this. And I can either select it and say insert field, or again, double click things, right? So let me get the total amount here and insert the field. And then of course, naturally I have access to, again, all my lookups as I did before, right? So let's see here, and then the account name here. So I'll insert that. So again, it's exactly what you're used to before. And so if you've already used a template designer, if you're already used to inserting fields, you're not going to see really anything different there. Next, I want to talk about the relationships. Of course, we kind of went over and looked in the demo. I mean, on the slides, kind of showed you a picture of it, but I kind of want to show you here. So I want to create a new relationship, right? That's going to bring up the new relationship designer experience here, right? So I have everything in here. I have my favorites. I have the many to one, right? So I have the one to many, the many to many, doing separate tables, et cetera, right? What I always suggest is when you build your relationship, if you're going to continue to use it, naturally these favorites are really, really good. And how do I make a favorite? Once you have the relationship designed the way you want to, and you're going to use it in your other templates, just come over here and hit this nice little star. It's going to save that relationship as a favorite. So then you can always access it from here. And for me, like for quotes, I'm going to use this is basically a quote product table here. So that relationship's already kind of done. So you can see here, I have everything that deals with from my quote line, and then from my quote line to products here, I've got all that information there, right? So one thing that I want to do, I can go ahead and set up my filtering and my sorting here. What I want to do here is, this is just a really simple filter, right? So I have my filter designer here. I can do a row, a group, or a related entity. I am going to actually choose my related entity. The field that I'm going to be using is the product type, right? Let me find that. Product type, right? And I want the product type to at least contain data, because maybe I have some products in there that don't have a product type. Those are the things that I don't want to bring back for this example. So what I will do right here, once I have that filter set up, you can set it up as complicated as you want to. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I have my filter set. Let's add some sorting here. One thing that I want to do is I want to sort by the amount, ascending, right? So, and then I also want to sort, let's see, by the actual, the product type. So it kind of maybe groups them together a little bit. So let's see here. Where's product type, right? Ascending, add. Right, so again, over here, you can see I have a couple little things. I can just automatically switch it to ascending and descending. I can switch their places, what I'm sorting by first and what I'm sorting by second, and again, throw them away. So here I'll say, okay, I've got that. I can name this, Clint's table, give it a name, right? I'll save that relationship here. I always like to rename all my relationships and everything like that. So, because, usually when people are doing like template design and everything like that, you don't just have one table. You usually have a lot of them. So I name them so they're easier to find, right? So it pulls everything over. And a couple little things that I kind of want to show you here. This is a couple little neat features. Of course, you can edit your sorting and your filters right here. You don't have to edit the relationship and go back in as you do with the desktop template designer. You can edit those right here. A couple other little neat things, small little neat features that you'll see here. You can see here on the mount here, it has a little down arrow. If you look real hard, there's a little down arrow right there. Let me see if I can't blow this up. But there's a little down arrow here letting me know that I'm sorting by this amount. And if I scroll down here to my products, right, and I look at my product type, you can see it has a little down arrow letting me know that I'm sorting, how I'm sorting. And then also the little filter lets me know that I'm filtering on this particular field, right? So just little neat features there. And again, it's just like you've kind of seen it before, like you're used to. Excuse me, in the regular template designer, let's just go ahead and insert a field just to kind of show you this look here. Right, so it's basically kind of what you're used to before. So it loads that up here. And again, do I want a table with a header? Same kind of thing. Do I want to split it? How many times do I want to split it? Etc. And insert. This should be very familiar to you if you've used DocumentsCorePack before, the template designer before. So here I'll say next, and you can see it's just the same as what I did before. You know, if I want to insert something else, I'll just just go ahead and put that information in there. So that basically covers it. You know, as we kind of add features and things like that to this, we'll do a little bit more in-depth webinars on this. Probably we'll do, our next webinar is going to be talking about how we can, you know, actually do template design with this. But we have plenty of template design things out there. Usually the old references that you have to the desktop template designer, you can use for the add-in, so you can find those basically on our knowledge base. Okay. So that's why I'm not going into super depth on this right now. So these are a couple of things that are really good to know, some things that we put together for you, so that you know kind of how this is. So what happens when you switch to the new add-in? So templates, they're converted when saved via the new add-in, right? So they, but what we highly suggest is you always create a backup of your templates. I can't stress that enough. You should have a backup of your templates, and if you're making changes to them, you should always be doing backups of this. And I believe that Michael is going to put a link to how to back up your templates. I can't stress that enough, that it's really important to back up your templates. But the templates are basically converted over when saved via the new add-in. So it's pretty easy. That kind of leads us into the next question. Is can I use the Office add-in and the Classic Template Designer side by side? Well, as you saw from my my demo, right, I have both of them installed. So yeah, you can run both in parallel. So you can test or start using the new add-in without losing any kind of access to the Classic one. And this is a thing that I kind of, there's a couple of things here. While it's possible to do this in most scenarios, we don't recommend switching back and forth between the two. Right, you can do that, but you know, again, this goes back to backing up your template. You know, I would say this. There's a few little gotchas here. Not really when you like. So if I open something up in the desktop template designer, I can't switch back and forth while I have that template open. I have to use and complete everything via the desktop template designer and then save it back, and then open it up in the other one, right? So you can't use them both like simultaneously. You can use them in parallel. Like, you know, I have some templates that I design in here and some templates that I do in here, right? You can totally do that, but you can't do something along the lines of like one template and I'm using features from this add-in and I'm using features from the desktop thing. You can't do that. But again, it doesn't really matter. Like if I have someone who's using the desktop designer and they save that template, I, as an add-on user, can open that template up, make changes to it, save it back. they with the desktop client can then open that back up. It's so that does work really, really well. It's not a problem. Okay, so that kind of brings us to that point of when should I use the new Office add-in versus the classic add-in. And what we usually recommend right now is the Office add-in is best for new and standard templates, right? Standard templates being like, you know, a letter or just a simple quote or something along those lines. Excuse me. The other thing is when you have cross-platform, like for example, say you're not at your, you know, you're out and about and you're, you know, you don't have access to your desktop designer, but you have access to Word Online or something along those lines. You can use it. You can use it there. Or like if you're on a Mac, etc. Someone's going to be doing it on a Mac. Best one to use the classic add-in, the classic template designer. It's better for the complex templates, right? That's charts. That's, you know, we know a lot of some people out there, they'll use custom fetch XML. They'll change things with the way that the XML is brought in, etc. It's best to use. So for the more complex stuff, use the classic. For the new stuff and standard, use the Office add-in, right? Okay. And the thing is, this is like, so is there a cost associated with the new add-in? And no, it's basically included with your DCP subscription. So if you have a template designer license assigned to you, you can use the add-in for free for right now. I mean, this you can totally do that for free. There may be some things coming in the future, but yeah, it's free. It's free for you to use if you have a template designer license. I want to talk a little bit about the roadmap, what we have kind of coming up. Number one, the thing that we're going to be bringing to you, and these are all going to be in the new, the template designer, right? The new template designer app, the web app, is PowerPoint support, being able to create, say, you know, PowerPoint presentations, or like some people like to do proposals and things like that. You'll be able to do that with PowerPoint support for that. And then the next thing is table designer. We understand that, you know, it takes a little bit to create, you know, these tables and everything like that. You really kind of have to know what you're doing. We want to simplify that whole thing. So basically anybody can create a table and get the look and feel that they want to right away, you know. So that's definitely something that's coming. And as you can see, these are coming into the app. We are going to be putting new features and things like that into the app, so it will be there'll be a lot of development put into that. So these are some of the things you can look forward to using in the future. Just want to say this before we go. Free trials are available for basically all our add-ons. There's no functional limits to them. They are fully supported, and it takes you 30 minutes to get, roughly around 30 minutes to get started. But as you saw with this, it, you know, it doesn't take long for you to get started designing templates and things of that nature. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, if you need support or need support help, you can get us at support.mscrm-addons.com if you have any questions or anything like that, something maybe you didn't think about. And then, of course, we have our YouTube channel, which is how-tos, webinars, and things of that nature. Any of these old ones that you want to go back and take a look at.